All right, well, I appreciate everyone waiting patiently. I think we'll go ahead and get started with our community meeting. It's 5:33 p.m. My name is Nolan Gross. I'm with Urban Design Partners. We are representing the petitioner, Precept Construction, LLC, on rezoning petition 2022-219, located at 9600 Albemarle Road. So Urban Design Partners, we're a team of civil engineers, landscape architects, and urban designers. We were asked to assist with site planning and taking the project through the rezoning process with the city of Charlotte. Scott Allred with Precept Construction is on the call, so I'll let him introduce himself and the proposed project.
Thank you, Nolan. Like you said, my name's Scott Allred of Precept Construction. I'm in Greensboro, North Carolina. And I happen to be married to Mary Ann Prather Allred, who owns the property at 9600 Albemarle Road, with her brother, Edward Prather. They inherited the property in 1975 after the death of their grandparents, Clark and Edna Prather. The Prathers purchased the property in 1953, and the family has owned the land continuously for 70 years. So our vision with the property is to develop it with a low density mix of townhomes and single family homes, surrounded by significant buffers and green space. As long-term owners of the property, our family wants to build something that we're proud of and represents our family well. We hope you agree that the project we are presenting for rezoning will be considered the best use for the property. With that, I'll turn it back over to Nolan.
Thank you for that, Scott. As you can see here on the screen, this is our site as it exists today. So this gives you a little bit of background imagery of location of 9600 Albemarle Road. Again, as Scott mentioned, my name is Nolan Gross. I'm with Urban Design Partners. We'll go ahead and get this presentation started. I may be having some technical difficulties. Give me just one moment. There we go. Okay, so just some general housekeeping. While we go through the presentation, please use the chat box to ask any questions. At the end of the presentation, we will go through the chat and answer any questions that you may have. We also ask that you would please remain muted during the presentation. Since we do have a relatively small crowd this evening, at the end of the presentation, if you would like, we can open up dialogue, come off mute, and ask any questions that you may have. So here's an overview of our site, approximately 13.02 acres. This is tax parcel 109-381-08. The site is located south of Albemarle Road, east of Manchester Lane, north of Barkridge Road, west of Sunway Drive. The property is surrounded by single-family residential homes, 2 auto sales lots to the north. There's a 68-foot Duke power easement on the eastern edge of the site. And this is directly south directly south and east of the site is within the town of Mint Hills corporate limits. So moving into information related to zoning. What exactly is zoning? Why are we here this evening having a community meeting? And what are zoning districts? Zoning is the city's method of classifying land by usage. The chart shows least intensive zoning districts to more, beginning at R3, which is a single family residential zoning district of up to 3 units per acre, to the B or business zoning districts, to I, industrial, and so forth. R3, as I mentioned, is a single family residential zoning district up to 3 acres. For this site, we are requesting an R12 MF, which stands for an R12 multifamily CD, which is a conditional zoning district. So rather than proposing a conventional zoning district, which does not require community meetings or site plans and extra levels of engagement, we've chosen this conditional route. Through that, we have the site plan, we have community engagement. When we lock in conditions that are beyond what is required by ordinance. Here are our existing zoning. Here's our existing zoning map and the zoning districts in the area. As you can see, we have our site outlined in blue. Some of the present zoning districts around the site include RMH, residential manufactured housing districts, and there are numerous non-residential districts such as B1, neighborhood business, CC, commercial center district, O2, office district, and I1, light industrial district. The site is currently split zoned. So it's currently zoned R3, single family residential, and B2, general business. As I mentioned on the previous slide, we are requesting to rezone to the R12 MF CD, residential, 12 units per acre, multifamily. For the last several years, the city has rewritten its zoning ordinance and long-range plans. The Charlotte 2040 Comprehensive Plan is a living document that provides a policy framework that will guide the city's decision-making and investment in both the near and long term. In essence, the comprehensive plan shows what the character of the city is and will help guide development over the next 15 years. The Charlotte Unified Development Ordinance. The UDO simplifies, consolidates, and updates the regulations that help guide Charlotte's development into a single document and aligns these standards with the vision of the 2040 Comprehensive Plan. So the UDO replaces existing Charlotte zoning ordinances and takes effect June 1st of this year. And there's also the 2040 policy map. So with continuing input from the community, the planning department is using place types as a tool to create a map that translates place-based policies from the plan to specific locations throughout the community. So this is a map of future land uses, identifying the types of development that are most suitable in the future. The 2040 policy map identifies our site as neighborhood 1. You can see surrounding context. There's also areas to the northwest identified for manufacturing and logistics, as well as the blue area along Albemarle Road, which is identified as a community activity center. So neighborhood 1 promotes the development of single-family housing, as well as duplex, triplex, and other multifamily options. The community activity center has the goal of providing a concentrated commercial and residential activity in a well-connected, walkable place. If you have any questions related to place types or different zoning, the UDO, I encourage you to reach out to the Charlotte Planning Department. They're currently having community area planning events to identify certain specific corridors and small plans, as opposed to the large citywide 2040 policy document. So looking a little bit closer at the neighborhood 1 place type. As I mentioned, neighborhood 1 promotes the development of single-family housing, as well as duplex, triplex, and multifamily options. Here you have a visual of the type of development often seen in an N1 place type, providing comfortable sidewalks with planting strips and shade trees, alleys in select locations to access garages and accessory dwelling units. There are multiple housing types in proximity to each other. ADUs can typically be accessed off of alleys, and there's a transition to adjacent place types from N1 to N2. And you can see there's a maximum of 6 attached units allowed, with each primary pedestrian entry facing a frontage or common open space. The typical building in a neighborhood 1 place type is a single-family residential building, up to 3 or 4 stories. Townhome style buildings typically have 4 to 6 units per building. The size of civic and institutional buildings vary based on context and accessibility. So when designing this site, we take many considerations into account, such as existing site conditions, whether there be wetlands, streams, or ponds on site, the City of Charlotte zoning ordinance, the development regulations, community input, like we're doing this evening, hosting a community meeting, the Charlotte 2040 plan and policy map, existing environmental features, pedestrian safety and walkability, vehicular traffic patterns, as well as green space and natural areas. So jumping into our zoning petition site plan for petition 2022-219. So a little bit of background about Charlotte zoning and rezoning petitions. They accept 16 petitions per month. So our particular petition was submitted many months back. However, we're now following the March 2023 submittal timeline. The plan proposes up to 60 single-family attached townhomes. One roadway connection is proposed to Albemarle Road with a stub road connection at the zoning boundary. The majority of dwellings will be accessed via private alleys off of the proposed public road extension. Duke has a 68-foot power easement along the eastern property line. The site plan also contains text found at the top of the screen or conditions of approval. These help codify additional development standards, clarifying tree save, architectural design features, stormwater regulations, and more. We also included a rendered site plan area to provide a better idea of what the site will look like once developed. You can see street trees will be provided along the public roadway throughout the site, as well as large areas of tree save along property boundaries. This will help buffer the proposed development from existing homes and businesses. There's a large pond central to the site that is fed by a stream to the northeast, or to the plan view as you see it on your screen, the northwest. So here we have the zoning petition timeline for petition 2022-219. As I mentioned, we're following the March 2023 rezoning timeline track. So here we are this evening on May 11th, 2023. We're holding our petitioner community meeting. Now, there are two potential time tracks for our public hearing up to city council decision. So we're receiving comments from the city on the rezoning petition, and based on the level of comments, we're either targeting a public hearing of June 20th, 2023, or July 17th, 2023. Depending which target date we're able to hit, it will affect the subsequent hearings. So if we can hit the June public hearing, we'll go to zoning committee on July 5th, and then ultimately receive a city council decision on July 17th. If we're unable to meet the June deadline and fall into July 17th for a public hearing, we will go to zoning committee on August 1st with a city council decision on August 21st. So with that, I will open up the floor to any questions. I have not seen any come across the chat yet, but if you have any particular questions, I'll jump back over to the site plan. Feel free to unmute, let me know who you are, and ask your question.
This is Chris Wine. I just have a few short questions. I see that you have a buffer zone there. We're on Kirk Place, so I see there's a buffer zone right around the stream, which is a nice option. Do you think most of these units will be, do you think they'll be mostly rental properties, or will be people will own them, or both? What's your kind of target thinking on what you want to do, what the ownership looks like for you?
Sure. Scott, would you like to address that question?
Yeah, Chris, the decision has not been made, but if I had to say right now, I would say it's more for sale. But
Right.
the decision has not been made, and it could be some rental.
Right. So there'll be some sales, and those people that buy might want to have it for rental property.
Yeah, you just never know. We could sell them the unit and then they rent it, and then Chris calls me and tells me I didn't tell him the truth.
Well, I won't hold you to knowing what the future is.
Yeah, I do not know what the future holds, but I think our intent is probably to.
I can probably guess it'll be a lot of different things, if
It could be. And it could change between now and the time we get ready to build something too. So
what is the next question is, I'm retired, but I used to be in construction commercial. What is what is the basic cost? Who are you looking, what is the basic unit going to be? Is it be 2-story, 3-story like townhome, or will it be, what will the general target market for costs be on these
Yeah,
units?
my vision is it'd probably be 2 stories.
Okay,
Cost would probably be in the low to mid threes.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I understand. About how many square feet? About 2,000, basically,
Maybe even a little less than that, yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So you're gonna have, from what I hear, it sounds like you want to have it as an upgrade to the community, but not go so far out that it doesn't match it. Is that correct?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, we're gonna try to meet the target for that geographic area of town. And like I say, we've owned the thing for 70 years. We've seen a whole lot of change just in the years I've been watching it. So I
Can
think
I
it'll
ask you a
definitely be
question?
uplifting for the neighborhood. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's great. I always wondered, who owned it. I know we bumped into some of the people that rented the house that was out near Albemarle Road and
Yeah.
enjoyed their company. Hey, are you going to buy the auto lot or whatever that junkyard is?
No, unfortunately, we're not involved in that part of it. So
If you want to,
we're gonna have to live with it though.
yeah, would you want to buy it?
Mm,
Maybe.
I wouldn't rule it out tonight, but that's not
Right.
my intent. Yeah.
Understand. Well, it sounds good. I mean, to me, I mean, offhand, it's just about quality construction, and it looks like I'm glad to see the pond is staying there. Probably needs to be there.
Yeah, I think it has to stay. I think what you should like about it is it's very low density. You know, we're not trying to put 350 apartments in there, this is low density and should be good for an adjoining neighbor.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
I think that's great. That's really all the questions I have. I'm gonna just sign off and thank you for your
If you have
presentation.
any questions, you can just contact me at preceptconstruction.com and go on our website and you can get in touch with me there if you have any questions outside of this.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Thanks for calling in.
You bet.
All right, I do see one question in chat from Scott Hicks. Will the zoning change affect Journey Auto Sales and its operation? We are the 3 parcels on Albemarle Road. So thank you for your question, Scott. No, the rezoning of this property will not affect the use of your property. Your property zoning will remain the same and your operations can continue as they exist today. This is very site specific to this piece of property.
Hey guys, it's Tucker Heck. Quick question. Did you get any sort of DOT approval for some sort of decel lane or anything? I'm just curious because we've had a flurry of activity through recent years, with accidents right out front of the lot. And I was just curious. We might be getting to it later. I was sort of off and on my phone about some sort of traffic study or anything like that.
Sure. So with this particular site, given the number of residential units, we will not have to conduct a full-blown traffic impact analysis. However, any roadway connections to Albemarle Road will require permitting and approval following the entitlement of the property when we get into land development. So if it is determined through a turn lane warrant analysis that is necessary, one would be provided. But those studies have not been done at this time.
Okay. Yeah, I was just curious.
Tucker, the good thing about this site is already right out only. So
That's right.
yeah, it's already beneficial that the traffic will be minimally affected.
Yeah, and I'm seeing on the back part, it looks like the access is off Albemarle. I know you touched on it earlier, but again, I apologize. I'm in and out trying to finish my day up. But do you have access on that parcel behind y'all to the looks like that this look on the east?
Let me run one slide back. I'll give you a little bit better context to where we are. So here's our full site plan. The particular rezoning petition that we're focusing on this evening, 2022-219, is specifically with the city of Charlotte. So the southern end of this parcel is actually in the Mint Hill ETJ. So any future development will have to go through Mint Hill's Planning and Zoning Department and will require an additional either rezoning site plan or development approval.
Okay, yeah, and last time I was poking around out there, I know that I think they had gone through some sort of change where they were lower in density. They were allowed density, and I was just curious if that has held true while y'all have been working through that southern parcel, if that is even in play. I'm not sure if it is or not.
It's been examined, however, at this time, the only development application on the table or under submittal is what's seen on the screen with the city of Charlotte.
Gotcha. Okay. Thank you.
Certainly. Thanks for your question. Thank you for joining us. If anyone else has questions, feel free to come off mute and ask away or type them into the chat box. We're happy to answer any questions that you may have this evening. Looks like there's just Scott and Tucker still with us. So if either of you have any further questions, feel free to ask.
No, I'm good. So
Yeah, that's about it. Obviously, we grew up right there. I grew up selling cars on that lot and got into real estate. Focused predominantly on land, but in, tertiary, secondary markets, Charlotte's sort of challenging for me to get into. But I appreciate y'all taking the time. We've been watching it grow up. It's kind of cool. I'm excited about that Eastland Mall redevelopment too. I'm curious to see how that impacts that whole corridor. And yeah, let me know if there's anything I can do for y'all.
Yeah,
love
we
to
will.
keep the conversation going, and I'm here, and I know I can reach y'all, so I'll make myself known.
Okay, thanks, Tucker.
Certainly, we appreciate you being on this evening. I see Scott said that he is okay for now as well, and we'll reach out with any further questions. Yeah, feel free to reach out to me. My email address is ngroce, that's NGROCE @urbandesignpartners.com. With that being said, I'll thank you all for being here with us this evening, and hope you all have a good rest of your evening and a great weekend. Thank you again.
Yeah, thank you, Nolan.
Awesome. Thanks, y'all.